Hey, what up, everybody? This is Mr. View, and I wanted to talk to you a little bit before the lecture today. I'm very happy with the amount of people that are getting stuff done on time and turned in like you're supposed to. Remember, you have generally about 28 hours to get everything done. You guys are doing a fantastic job. Some of you need to get on the grind a little bit as far as checking in every day and making sure you're doing your stuff. But for the most part, you guys are doing a great job. So I'm very happy about that. So continue to work hard. The assignments generally don't take that long, so I hope that you continue on with what we're doing, uh, and it's not too bad for you. Okay. The last time we talked, we were dealing with socialism and how maybe the shift in America is talking about socialism quite a bit, and how things maybe not working out as socialists generally plan, with the communism falling in places like the Soviet Union, and the troubles in North Korea, and the troubles in China, and the differences between capitalism and socialism. So today we're going back to the Industrial Revolution, and we're talking about how it spread, right? Because right now, as of this point in our unit, it's only been in England, and it's now starts to spread. And since it starts in England, it spreads out. They tried to keep all the ideas for themselves because, hey, they were making a lot of money, but it didn't work. And it starts to spread out. And initially, it starts to spread to certain countries geographically close to England, and it spreads to countries with lots of natural resources, a lot of money, a good labor force, strong militaries. And like I said, it started in the closest countries first, and then kind of spread out. So if you can imagine those countries way on the other side of the world, maybe like China, they took a little bit longer to industrialize, and plus having closed borders. One big thing for the Industrial Revolution spreading was colonialism. A lot of times you needed this cheap labor, and places like England had taken over parts of Africa. You know, France and Germany and all these places had taken over sections of Africa and used their cheap labor and their resources. They used slave labor, right? And all of a sudden, this stuff's kind of spread out. So colonialism is ruling a territory from another country. Some of these ideas that spread, right? This is a big time of inventions, and inventions they start to boom because there's less time needed for farming, right? And these people move to the cities and things, and then they started to have these 8-hour work days from labor unions, and so there was more time on people's hands. Guys like Bessemer were very instrumental. Bessemer created a way to get the impurities out of iron and created steel, which obviously we know as a very strong resource, right? It's something that you can build skyscrapers on, and it's going to stay strong. So steel was a game changer. Nobel, very instrumental too. He creates dynamite, and you think dynamite, big deal, right? But dynamite was a big deal because think about the roads, and think about if you've ever driven out east or out west and you go through mountains, right? How do you think that road got there? Do they go to the top of every mountain? No, they cut right through, right? And dynamite helped make that happen. So the roadways could go in a straight line as opposed to over the top of mountains. Now, yeah, you still kind of swing around mountains sometimes, but you still needed that dynamite to blow that stuff up. So Nobel was very instrumental. However, he felt bad about his invention of dynamite because people started throwing it at each other, right? Bam, blowing people up. And he didn't want to be known as the guy that created some destructive or violent invention. He wanted to be known for peaceful stuff. So he creates a peace prize from his profits, and that is the Nobel Peace Prize. Volta creates the battery. Wow, right? Volts, battery, volts, battery, volts. That's right, battery, right? Volta creates a battery, another humongous invention. Think about where our world would be without batteries and toys, right? Batteries not included. So Volt is the problem. Thomas Edison maybe creates the biggest, greatest invention of all time, the light bulb. We've talked a little bit about how influential the light bulb is, but I mean, I'm in this lit room, right, with the light bulbs. Think about cars with headlights. Think about factories that are now able to work all night, first, second, and third shift, as opposed to just during the daytime. So that doubles or triples your output of a factory. There's more goods being available. So this thing, the safety issues in cities, the light bulb, oh my goodness, it changes everything. So Edison has a huge hand in that. Benz creates the three-wheel automobile, and Daimler creates the four-wheel automobile a little bit later than that. So Benz, if you think about Mercedes Benz or Daimler Chrysler, three-wheel automobile for Benz, four-wheel for Daimler. The Wright brothers in America create the airplane, and it wasn't like the biggest thing since sliced bread back then. I mean, the airplane, their first airplane ride only took a few seconds and it did not go very far. But it was an instrumental forefather to the airplane industry that we have now, right? So even though maybe it started off very basic, now we can't imagine things without the airplane. Not just for travel, but for defense and for offense, right? We fly our planes over and bomb places, or for surveillance or whatever. So the Wrights in their airplane. Bell creates the telephone. Right? Enough said. Everybody's got a telephone on their hip right now. It wasn't that way back then. So communication was huge after Bell creates this telephone. Everybody has access now. It doesn't start out that way, but this was the forefather to our telephone. Stevenson creates the steam locomotive, and that means a train. And while we say, what's the big deal about a train now? It is a big deal. It's a humongous deal. That's where a lot of our goods get transported, and especially our heavier goods now. They get transported via these trains, right? It goes from point A to point B via the train. So the train was a big deal. Fulton creates the steamship. Doesn't go very fast, but this is another way of transporting goods. And when we think about steamships or whatever, they're very instrumental in ways maybe we don't think about. Our major cities are by water. If you think about the most populous areas in America, they're all on the East Coast, the West Coast, or like Chicago, Detroit, on water, kind of inland, right? So the steamship, hugely, hugely important. So today, what I want you to talk about, very simple assignment. Just say which two inventions today that we learned about are the most important and why. Okay, the two most important inventions that I talked about today and why. It should be a couple of sentences about each thing. All right. Have a great day, and I'll talk to you tomorrow.